We get many legendary managers join us on the show, and this season we've started to help get them back into work. Towards the end of October, Martin O'Neill was sat on this very show, only to be appointed as Celtic interim manager later that same day. Let's go back now to when he joined the show to explain exactly how it all happened. Now, Steve Bruce, I have to warn you now, Martin O'Neill was sitting in that very seat yesterday, and later on in the day, he was interim boss at Celtic. Who knows what's going to happen to you, Steve, later on today?
Well, I've got my telephone there waiting, but I doubt it's going to ring, Jim. After the last 6 months I've had, I doubt it's going to ring.
Good morning. Great to see you. Great to see you looking so well.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, Steve, it's great having you on board. Alex, what a show. The next 3 hours. So much going on, and we're right across it here at talkSPORT. It was a remarkable chain of events yesterday. I heard you live last night on the sports bar, educating those guys with what actually did happen, with Brendan Rodgers going and O'Neill coming in. We'll hear from Martin in a second, but a crazy chain of events.
Absolutely incredible, Jim. I was actually sat in a pub quiz when I saw your messages on Twitter suggesting that there was a change of foot, and within minutes Celtic had confirmed the bombshell news that Brendan Rodgers had resigned and Martin O'Neill, at the grand old age of 73, was going back in as interim manager. It is absolutely incredible. Not just Celtic, but when you look at Rangers as well this season, those two clubs are delivering so many talking points. Meanwhile, Hearts under Tony Bloom and Derek McInnes are just rolling along quite nicely.
Yeah, it proves to me, Steve, when you guys get the call, you find it very hard to say no.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And certainly with Martin's case, considering he's been out 6 years, but probably at this particular moment, the club needs it. He's adored by the supporters, of course.
Yeah.
They remember what he did. So maybe it just puts a little bit of water on burning coal, shall we say, and he'll do fantastically well, I'm sure of that.
I'm pretty sure he will. So how long is he going to be there for? What's he going to do in his time there, and how did it all happen? Let's get to it. Martin, as you know, was a guest of ours. He's a regular on this show with Simon and myself. Yesterday it was Martin Keown. But now that changes somewhat because he has answered the call and he goes up to take over on an interim basis at Celtic following the departure yesterday of Brendan Rodgers. Just moments ago, before we came on air, I spoke to Martin as he prepared to board a flight to head to Glasgow. And I said, 20 years on, you're returning to Celtic. How did it all come about?
I got a call late afternoon, early evening yesterday from Celtic, from Dermot Desmond, and Dermot asking me would I step in because Brendan had resigned from the football club. It's obviously the kind of shock news, really, as much as anything else. Shocked me as well too, but just to step into the breach and just do it on a short-term basis until a permanent manager is appointed.
Did you hesitate for one moment before you said yes, or did you say yes right away?
Well, that's a very good point, Jim. A very good point. Like everything else, I took a gasp of breath and thought, is this real or surreal? And so it's difficult, really, to turn down somebody who gave you the job in the first place. You know, when he had really some great options away back 25 years ago. So from that viewpoint, maybe by the time that I pulled myself off the floor, I probably thought then maybe I should do it.
What would you say to some of those who this morning are saying, well, this is Martin O'Neill, all these years on, this is his heart ruling his head?
Who knows? Absolutely. This is it's a short term. Celtic, obviously, I think probably are stunned with the news that Brendan left, and as a consequence, you know, they have maybe might be obviously are seeking a permanent manager, and so this is like a short term. Well, I'm not going to say a fix, but it's certainly a short term fit. Anyway, whether it's a fix or not is another thing.
I mean, you're an interim charge. I wonder what that means. Does interim mean interim to you?
Yeah, interim does mean that to me. Absolutely. It's really as simple as that. There, Celtic are looking for. They are looking for. I would have assumed a young coach coming in now who has a proven ability, and would be wanting to pull the club forward now from their position as it stands. That's how I would view it. And I suppose if I was a Celtic fan, that's how I would absolutely see it.
I mean, I wonder if interim means a couple of games or until the end of the season.
Well, do you know, Jim, I've always said to you on your program that I did with you yesterday, manager has to win football matches, and that's no different. And at Celtic, it's always been the case. So you have to try and win some football matches. And if we can do that, if we can win some football matches and give us, just give us a bit of a buying time, as it were, until a new man is appointed.
What do you think of the start, Martin? Your homecoming is against Falkirk tomorrow night, and then the small matter of a League Cup semi-final at Hampden against Rangers.
Well, if I'd seen the fixture list, I possibly then wouldn't have taken it, So that's supposed to be a joke then. No, I don't hear you laughing. But anyway.
I am laughing.
But yeah, listen, it is what it is, and it's come as a bit of a shock, which I think you can hear from my voice as much as anything else. But listen, yeah, let's go, and I'm working with Sean Maloney. Sean and I go back years and years ago when he was a young player with me, but he is experienced in management now, and he's worked as well too with lots of really good coaches, and as I said, he himself has been a manager. So I will obviously need help, and Sean is there to give it to me, and so hopefully the rest of the backroom staff.
It comes over loud and clear what Celtic means to you. Do you want to share that with the Celtic fans on talkSPORT this morning? What this club means to Martin O'Neill?
Naturally, I had a super time there. It was an absolute privilege to have managed them before. My time had gone. I think I said that to you long time ago. Jim, I mean, I can't emphasise this enough. This is a short term until a permanent manager is appointed, and I think that Celtic will be searching around, as I said to you, for that young manager with proven ability, who's got a bit of a track record. I imagine all of those particular things, and I just sit in there and keep the seat warm for him.
Henrik Larsson's too old to bring back, isn't he?
I might call him. I might just call him and ask him, has he been staying in the gym for the last couple of years? So yeah, you never know.
Martin O'Neill speaking exclusively to this show just before he headed north to Glasgow. There is a Hearts fan. I've got to read it out. Good morning, guys. Morning, Steve, Alex. Russell Martin is sacked. Brendan Rodgers quits. The old firm crumbling under the pressure of the Jambos. Hearts, in other words. So Hearts fans not too slow to jump on this. Steve, how often did Martin in that chat, Steve Bruce is with Alex, myself, how often did he say interim and short term? The more he emphasises it, I think the more he thinks, you know what?
Do you know
I
what?
might be there for a while.
Yeah, let's win tomorrow night. They play Falkirk.
Yeah.
And then if they beat Rangers at the weekend, then who knows? But look, I think he's obviously answered the call, and everybody knows, a bit like myself, Martin, they enjoy the game. We enjoy the game so much. The managerial side, I don't think Martin's done it for 5-6 years. But at this particular moment, he's a good fitter. He's a really, really good fit, really experienced man. Obviously adores the club and loves the club and had a great time there before. So, as I've just said before, it seems a good fit at this particular moment. He has stressed interim. How long that interim could it be?
Well, yeah.
How long could it be? But what it does give them, it gives them time to get the appointment right. Of course it does.
Yeah, but he's been out for a while though, Steve. Is there an element of ring rust when you guys go back in after a spell?
I think
out?
there's always a little bit of ring rust and something. I would have thought a little bit. He'll found it a bit strange because he hasn't done it for so long. But let's be brutally honest. He's been a fantastic manager over the years. So he's got help, and Sean, who'll give him all the energy on the training ground, and of course the backroom staff. And I'm sure he'll absolutely take it like duck to water, like he normally has done.
Lots of talk, lots of reaction to the chat there. He's only spoken to us this morning, Alex, before he flies up there. But the dust isn't going to settle on this for a long time yet. And when we come back the other side of the break, Alex, we will start talking about what actually happened with Brendan Rodgers. And that statement last night from the owner, Dermot Desmond. Now, we'll get into that in more detail. But that was a bombshell that dropped last night.
He certainly didn't pull any punches, did he? Talking about Brendan being self-serving and talking about a toxic atmosphere around the dressing room. basically accused Brendan Rodgers of being a liar when it came to recruitment and it came to the fact that Brendan was alluding to not being offered a new contract. Incredible when Brendan has his say back. This could be a real war of words between former manager and the owner up there. But what I would say just quickly on Martin O'Neill, it is a very romantic appointment. And listen, Martin is still, in my view, got a lot to offer the game. He's an incredibly astute football tactician, but it's a very different Celtic to the one that he left behind. If you read between the lines why Brendan has decided to fall on his sword, and it's very rare, isn't it, for managers to walk away from lucrative contracts so early in the season. They've sold key players, Nicholas Kuhn for £16.5 million. They sold Adam Eder to Swansea. He scored 22 goals for Celtic last season. They only spent £10 million in the summer. Now, there's plenty of money in the bank. Yeah. And I keep being told the reason for that is because they foresaw what was going to happen at Rangers. They realised they weren't really going to be much of a threat to their status as champions, but they didn't account for what Hearts are doing. So I can understand Brendan's frustrations. Sure. Equally, I think there's an argument to be made about some of the things that Dermot Desmond was saying. I told you a couple of weeks ago that Brendan wouldn't renew his contract at the end of the season. Yeah. And that's never an easy situation in a dressing room if you know the manager is going to up sticks.
Well, Alex, the messages and the calls are coming in. We want to hear from Celtic fans, of course. Martin ended up having a fine return to Celtic Park and further cemented his place into the pantheon of legends to grace Celtic Park. Martin later joined us back on the show to look back on that emotional return. Now, if you cast your mind back to before the international break, bombshell news came out of Celtic, did it not? Brendan Rodgers had quit the club, and in comes, on an interim basis, our good friend here at talkSPORT, Martin O'Neill, Celtic legend, of course, having done what he did in his spell as manager at the club before. Celtic fans love the man, and they love him even more now because in the short spell he's been in charge, 7 games, won 6, just lost the once in Europe. But what now for Celtic's popular interim manager? Martin O'Neill, good afternoon.
Hello there. How are you, Jim?
I'm good. I'm alongside Simon and Martin Keown in surroundings that you're very familiar with. What about yourself? Are you coming to the end of this interim spell as manager at the club?
Yeah, I thought it was actually over on Sunday, yesterday, but I think there's some paperwork still to be dealt with, and when the new manager comes in, so. Wednesday will definitely be my final game.
Definitely, and that's against Dundee, and it's at Celtic Park, which is very fitting. Can you confirm I know I'm putting you on the spot, Martin, to a degree. You can confirm to us that that Nancy is on the way, Wilfred Nancy is on the way, and he takes over on a permanent basis.
Yeah, well, it's not confirmation from me, Jim, but it will be pretty well. I think that is that's the viewpoint anyway. So confirming it or not, it's not the point. But he is the man that will be coming in.
Okay, and then if that's the case, and you go after the Dundee game in midweek, Nancy will arrive and take over Celtic, and his first game in charge is against Hearts, which is a table topper.
Yeah, exactly. It's a nice one for him. It's a nice introduction. It'll be a difficult game. Of course, it'll be a difficult match. Not too many easy ones, but So naturally, wish him well. And he's at least he's getting a side that's got a bit of confidence, or certainly restoring of confidence.
How's it been for you, Martin? The experience?
It's been really surreal, Jim, and. It's like a part of your life that you think, well, did that really happen? You know, I think that it's. Am I delighted that I've done it? Absolutely. I remember Simon calling me and saying, well, just go for it, and so I'm delighted to have done so.
The same Simon sitting right beside me.
Yeah, well, it's great. I mean, potentially, Martin, after we helped exhume you from your football grave, you are likely to be leaving Celtic on top of the SPFL, aren't you? If you win the game, if you win the game on Wednesday without discounting Dundee, you'll leave them top of the Premier League, won't you?
You could, but Hearts I think play the same evening. So
do they? Right.
If you win the game in hand, you would go top of the league. So from an 8-point deficit, that would be nice. But listen, I would never be. Wednesday's big game. It's my last game, and it's a game that would obviously want to try and win.
Martin, we were together, weren't we? That morning, and because just a few hours later, you were kind of thrust into this top job. You've done an amazing job. I'm not going to talk to you about the one game you've lost. I'm just going to look at how well you've done.
No, we lost to Michelin. That was a tough game for us, Martin, because a couple of weeks earlier, I had actually been to the City Ground where they absolutely mauled Nottingham Forest. They beat them up, but physically too strong for them, and that's something to say about a Nottingham Forest side that are quite physical themselves. So from that viewpoint, that was a difficult match. But you
put it right though. You put it right after the Feyenoord game, haven't you? You did exceptional in that game.
Yeah, to go to Feyenoord and win away from home was terrific. So we've given ourselves a bit of a chance. We've got 3 games left. We need a couple of more points to try and qualify, which would be great. But that was a restoration of
Martin,
football.
Is this just a cameo for you now, or is it the end in terms of management? Because it's, you must look at it from afar as we do, and then you go back in it. You find yourself on the inside. Was it much easier or more difficult than you'd expected?
Oh well, it wasn't easy. There's a feel of failure for a start. Your fear of failure, I should say. That is always a big concern. I think that I used to always, boast to Simon that I could do the job equally as badly as a lot of other managers, so from that viewpoint, I've actually learned a lot. I've had great young coaches beside me, boys who have actually managed, and that has been great. But it's been a reinvigoration of me in many aspects, because dealing with young people every single day, you certainly do not. I feel as if I'm like.
Did you notice, Martin? Did you notice, Martin, that Keown brought up the fact that you lost the game? Is the end near, and was it easy? And do you know why that is? It's because you custard pied his message when he sent you a congratulations for getting the job. Did you notice that?
I'm used to that.
Well, it's interesting, Martin, because I have every intention of sending all these messages back, and I didn't mean to custard pie.
Do you know what I said to him? I said to him, if I was managing, there's so many things that Martin has to deal with. Look, you've done an amazing job. I just wonder if it whets the appetite to carry on in some other club.
I genuinely don't know. I'll have a wee think about things just after Wednesday evening.
Well, Martin, let me put you right in the spot. Every time Celtic played with you in interim charge, the fans were singing your name. And behind the scenes at the moment with the board and the events of the AGM, there was a fair bit of disquiet amongst the supporters. If the club was to offer you a position of some sort, and Nancy comes in and takes over on a permanent basis, but they were to offer you a position within the club, and it's theoretical, obviously, would you give it considerable thought? Is it likely? Is there anything you can tell us on that one?
No, I really don't know. And I think that is really for the incoming manager to decide. I think that's the most important thing, that he should be given free rein to go, obviously pick a staff, which he'd want to do, and anything else concerning football as well too. That should be really up to him. If the incoming manager wants my opinion on things over the last number of weeks, that's fine. If he doesn't, it's not a problem to me at all. But I would never advise him. There's no such thing as advice to a fellow manager in that sense. But really, that's entirely up to the new manager, and I think that's only right.
Yeah. Martin, with the manager coming in, so you've got this game against Hearts. Is it kind of a collaboration with you and the new manager, because you're handing the reins over in perhaps one of the biggest games of the season?
Well, no, there's been no talk of collaboration. I assume that the manager who's coming in will have had looked at our games, certainly our recent games, and then made some sort of decisions for himself. Again, I get back to the point. No, there isn't a collaboration, and it's very much his team. The minute he steps into the breach.
Are you going to be emotional on Wednesday night after the game against Dundee?
You mean, am I going to cry?
Are you going to cry?
Don't be stupid.
Oh, that's right. I'm a mop head. I'm
looking for a headline, aren't you, Jim?
Oh, you've remembered that. I do apologise.
Oh, Martin.
again.
Martin,
Wrong.
there is a seat waiting for you here whenever you want to come back. You know that.
Well, that is very kind of you. Thank you very much, Jim. The other two might not welcome
We're
me.
looking
but
for a
there we are.
replacement for Simon.
Well, I will sing. Listen, I will sing your name too if it gets me an opportunity to rid myself of Kieran on a Monday morning.
Martin O'Neill, Martin O'Neill, Martin O'Neill, Martin O'Neill, Martin O'Neill. You know the song. You've listened to it often enough over the last few weeks.
I think that song, that the lyrics to that song were written by Mick Jagger. I think, there's so many words to it.
Oh, Martin, well done with everything you've done.
Thank you, Jim.
Congratulations.
Well done. Be
Well
very,
done, mate.
be very
Much
proud of
appreciated.
yourself. A Merry Christmas to one and all. Welcome back to a very special edition of White and Jordan, where we're revisiting some of the best moments of the season so far. We're very lucky to get some quite phenomenal guests onto the show, and there aren't many better than Paul Gascoigne himself. Here's what happened when Gaza joined us to promote his new autobiography. This morning we are joined in studio by an iconic name in English football.
Now Gascoigne, right, Gascoigne again, lovely move and terrific goal. Is Gascoigne going to have a crack? He is, you know. Oh, I say! Brilliant! That is schoolboy's own stuff.
It's the buzz going around the ground as he picks up the ball. It's Gascoigne! And a wonderful goal!
Gascoigne doesn't need them. Can he finish it now? He can! A fantastic goal by Paul Gascoigne.
Walsh, Gascoigne, it really is going somewhere now. It's a brilliant goal, and that's what he can do. And the crowd loved it.
Yep, born out of the northeast, his career took him from England to Italy and Scotland, an FA Cup winner with Spurs and a 2-times champion at Rangers, 57 caps for England. I could go on, but let's hear from the man himself. We eagerly look forward to this. Paul Gascoigne, good morning.
Morning.
Good
How are
morning.
You all right? Good to see you, Simon and Martin.
Good to see you.
And yourself, Jim, as well, sorry.
Thank you very much. Before we go on, first and foremost, and you know why I'm asking, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm enjoying life at the moment. You know, I've done a bit of fly fishing while I've time off, I suppose, but it's all right down pool, down in Bournemouth. Yeah, the weather's all right.
Nice part of the world, isn't it?
Yeah, it's lovely, aye.
Did you bump into
Bit hot for
Souness
me,
down
aye.
there? Did you bump into Souness down there? Or do you
Yeah,
avoid him
no,
like the
a couple
plague?
of times when he's pedaling along the beach with his top off.
Oh.
He's much like he's a handsome chap. Still, at least he got rid of that syrup he used to wear. Yeah, with his curly top. But yeah, Souness and Harry, I bump into Harry now and again.
You see Harry Redknapp down there. Is
Just in Bedford. Yeah, that's the time I see him, I think.
it a good place for you to live, Paul?
Yeah, it's nice. It's a nice area. I mean, you know, the weather's nice and all that, and there's the fishing. I love fishing, so it's not bad for the fly fishing up there as well. Well, it's about 45 minutes away, but yeah, I get left alone, so it's okay.
And just in the passing, nice for you to renew your acquaintances with
Yeah,
this man,
great to
Martin.
see Paul with a smile on your face.
Yeah, it's all right. It's not
Back
bad.
again. We had lots of memories.
Quite
the
a few.
21's team, we first came across each other.
Yeah, we did.
I remember you driving to a game, and
I used to be a good guy till I met you as well. All right.
you had 5 mates turned up, didn't you, for your first on the 21's game? And
Yeah.
you went straight to the bar, and I think you were a little bit nervous. You weren't sure how you were going to be introduced to everybody, and you had this sort of your
In the
mates-
bar or on the pitch?
Well, on the pitch, you had loads of confidence. You were never really,
Yeah.
lacking in confidence on the pitch. But off the pitch, I think you wanted that little bit of protection around you. Tell me about those early days on the 21s, because remember some of the guys, Dave Sexton.
Yeah,
banned
he
a couple of
was
the
a
guys.
tough cookie, wasn't he? I mean, I remember he had to go at everyone, but I remember I scored on my debut, and there was no one in the crowd. And I think my dad was over then, and I scored, and there was nowhere to celebrate. So I went, So I jumped over the fence and celebrated on the motorway.
I remember.
Yeah, from behind the motorway to the cars. I've just scored.
You're at large.
Yeah, but Dave Sexton was a hard case. Julian Dix, I remember having he had to go at him because he had to go at Julian Dix, and Julian Dix sort of smiled. He went, "Don't mess about with me." We did have a bit of a laugh, but we did well as well up there, you know.
So listen, you've got this book out, Paul Gascoigne, 8. And I'll just hold up to camera for the viewers. The real Gaza revealed for the first time. But here's the thing, 8, Paul, has a significance, doesn't it? It's about 8 emotions that have run riot.
They have
your life.
sort of
trust, joy, anticipation, anger, sadness, surprise, fear, and disgust.
But the one when I was doing with the ghostwriter, she said about the 8 demons sort of thing, and I went, yeah. And I went, I only know 3 really, so OCD, alcoholic and addict. And she went, I said, that's it. She went, oh, we'll Google you. I went, oh, no. And I went, that's 4, that's 5. I went, just put $88 and just get on with it. Yeah.
The 8 demons, if you like.
Yeah. Yeah.
The 8 emotions that sum
just
up
when
the
I
story.
wake up, like every morning, you know, these sort of things I try and put in place before I leave the house as such, and most of them as well, you know.
I mean, as you get older, Paul, are you reflecting on your life and your career in a different way?
I find it hard to watch football. You know, some of the clips when I think, God, I wish I had that back, you know. You know, I wish, you know, when I finish playing, it's like it's such. I think, God, you know, would I've done this when I was playing? But no, like, you know, so you know, I loved that 90 minutes because that was my freedom. You know, obviously, especially after the World Cup, I got followed every day, you know, for the press and the lies, and like sometimes I coped with it well, sometimes I didn't. And then I just thought, you know, when I just thought I've got 90 minutes to enjoy myself, and I did. I made sure I enjoyed every, you know, for them. Oops, my sister.
That'll be the publisher.
And I'm on the phone. I mean, I'm on the radio. See you later. Sorry.
It proves we're live, ladies and gentlemen. It proves we're live. Simon, you must have been on your feet when you watched this guy play.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I watched him play. I mean, I'm a similar age to Paul. I went to the 96 game against Scotland. I had players in my dressing room, Curtis Fleming, that played with him at Middlesbrough, so I got the stories of Paul. But as a player, you talk about players. He knows this. He doesn't need me to say it. When I also say it, there are generational great players. And there are opportunities that these players create on a field that most don't. And with great genius often comes troubles. You know, I knew George Best relatively well. I think it's not a controversial point to make that one of the most talented footballers that the country's ever produced is George Best, and one of the other ones, or the Isles, has produced is Paul Gascoigne. And both of them affected games in a way that the average player couldn't. What Paul could do with the ball and what he could make the opposition be wary of is very rare. Taking players out of the game, creating space. What that 1990 World Cup did for him individually probably challenges it as a result of it as well, because of the collective media attention into every aspect of your life, from who you got married to. I was reading the Mail column yesterday. I read the pieces yesterday. Peter Beers just texted me this morning saying, make sure you look after Gaza.
Did he?
Yeah. But I was reading the civilization of your book. So yeah, of course. I mean, of course, you can't help but look at Paul Gascoigne and think various emotions like what talent.
Yeah.
A degree of empathy, and a degree of wistfulness about, and I suspect he has that in his own life.
We're going to get onto some of that media attention, Paul, and I witnessed it. I would say I was part of it to an extent in your time at Scotland when you were at Rangers. You pulled on the shirt of Newcastle, Tottenham, Lazio, Rangers, Middlesbrough, Everton, England. Where were you happiest?
Rangers. I love Rangers because when I was younger, when I was 15, where I lived, there was 2 guys that were Scottish, and I always talked about the Celtic Rangers derby, and that's all they ever talked about it, you know. And you talk about genius. It's funny, just when he said that, it was what I always remember Walter Smith. He said, "I need you to go for a head scan." I said, "What for?" He said, "He made us go for a head scan," and he went, "I need to see you now upstairs in the top tier." And I said, "What's wrong?" He says, "I've got to leave you be. You're a genius." I went, "What does that mean?" He says, you've got to let you do what you want. And no one does that with me. And he grabbed us by the throat and throttled us. And he went, "You better score tomorrow." I did. I made sure I got a couple of goals. But I remember when he said, because he got in trouble with him once, and he went, "All right, and you better get me a brace tomorrow." I I went, okay then. I went to shop and bought a brace. I didn't realise the brace was 2 goals, so I bought him a brace. I went, there you go, Gaffer. He went, no, I've been 2 goals. Lucky enough, I got a hat-trick. So.
You loved your time at Rangers. Is there any truth in the talk that before you played for them at Celtic Park, you were in the boardroom briefly?
Yeah, I had
and you poured yourself a large whiskey.
Yeah, that was one of them, and I scored as well. So and then it was the cup final, and it was like I didn't have the bet. I had a row with Coyce just before the half time, and I apologised, and then the gaffer went, "It was you. Have you had a drink?" I went, "No, honestly." He went, "Go and get one." I went, "Oh, cheers, gaffer." And I went in the boardroom and I got 9 brandies, and I went, "I've had a drink now." He went, "Go out," and I scored 2 in 10 minutes, and got man of the match. Then afterwards he went, "Right, you home. We're all going out. You've had your drink." So I went, "Oh God, please let us come." He went, "No." So I went home and I thought, you know what? I knew where they were with the players' wives, so I turned up naked and ended up dancing on the team. He just went off it again the next morning. I got a 3rd tier again. You used to always go to the 3rd tier, and no one was about and strangled us. But yeah, I loved it up there. My time was fantastic because when he come to it, I remember when my agents were talking to Lacho about what club I should go to, and when he said Glenn Hoddle,
who's your agent? Mel Steen?
Yeah, Mel Steen was at the time, and I went, "No, I'm not going there." Or Aston Villa. When he said Rangers, so I went, "No." I said, "I'm not going." So I'm walking out, and Dino's off went, "Glasgow Rangers." And I went, "Oh, I thought you meant Queen's Park Rangers." "Yeah, okay, get him over." So as my agents were talking, I spoke to Walter. I says, "I'm coming, don't worry, I'll take a massive drop in wages. I want to go to Rangers." Within a week, that was it, you know.
I mean, Walter turned up in Italy to speak to you directly, didn't he?
Yeah, he did, yeah.
Come to us, come to Rangers.
Come to Rangers. He said it was his son, because I remember it was 4 years before that was in Tampa holiday, Sarasota, that was it.
Yeah.
And he was there. And I went with my ex-wife. I went, "See that guy over there?" I says, "I'd love to play for him one day." And then 4 years later, I did, you know. Yeah, so...
you did love it there, didn't you?
Yeah, he just said, you know, what you do, you get your smile back on your face, because we took over Lazio. We had a new manager, Zeman, was from Yugoslavia, and I didn't get on well with him. So he said, "You'll enjoy your football, yeah, you know, and you'll play with a smile, and the lads are good banter." And I did. I mean, Coyce was straight at me case, and Durante in the dressing room straight away. It was... well, I got my own back on Gordon Jury. I know that with the 2 trout. Because I remember, because we were coming to Euro 96, and I used to go fishing in the morning. I caught 2 trout, and I went in the dressing room. And Gordon Jury every day, because the Euro was coming up and saying, "We're going to batter you, just hammered us every day." So I come in the training ground with 2 trout. Look what I caught, and Gordon Jury again. You bought them. So I wasn't training, neither was Coisty. So they went out training. I went, "If you like, give us Gordon Jury's car case." So I got his car case, and I put 1 trout in the boot. And Coisty went, "You see that?" I went, "That's the idea." I said, I went in front of his car and I squeezed it in the front seat. I went, "He won't say that, will he?" So after training, he's got ready. He went and come back in the dressing room with 1 trout. He went, "You never catch me out, Gaz." I went, "Yeah, you're right." 2 weeks later, he went, "Where's the other trout, Gaz? Please tell me." He couldn't sell the car. So I had to buy him a new car, 70 grand. I was gutted.
Paul Gascoigne, you were gutted. A story about fish, and Gazza was gutted. Paul Gascoigne could light up a room for hours with his stories. Here are some of his memories for playing for England at major tournaments, including that very special summer back in 1990. Here's the thing, Gazza, you won titles at Rangers and an FA Cup with Spurs, and we often talk about sliding doors moments in sport. And maybe this was yours, because back in 1988, there was a man called Alex Ferguson who really wanted you. And Sir Alex has spoken about the moment he knew he wanted to sign Paul Gascoigne.
And my 3 centre midfield players were Robson, Whiteside and Moses, 3 very competitive footballers and great footballers, and he absolutely tore them apart. He tore them apart. Ended up in one situation, he nutmegged Remy Moses right in front of me in the dugout, and went up to Remy after he did it and patted him on the head. And I was out that dugout, "Get that little so-and-so. And Robbo and Whiteside are chasing him up and down the pitch and couldn't get near him. And I says, after the game, I says to the chairman, don't leave here, get on that, into that chairman in Newcastle. I've got to get this boy. It's the best I've seen for years and years.
Now then, Gaza, take up the story, because the story goes that you promised Sir Alex that you would sign for him in Manchester United, right? What happened?
Well, just when I stopped, I was fearless of anyone. I wasn't giving a who I played against. I wasn't bothered. I wasn't worried, you know, what team it was, and didn't realise how good these three were, really. I knew how good Brian Robson was, but I just had a row. I nutmegged Remy Moses in front of the dugout, and he was going off at Remy because I took the biggie out, but he come up to us, and he was only So I put my hand on top of his head, look, where's he? And I went, oh, there you are. And obviously he went off it. And then obviously after the game, and he rang up the house, and I went, Dad's Alex Ferguson. And I spoke to him, he says, look, I want you to sign for Rangers. So I went, yeah, okay.
You want to sign for United?
Sorry, for Man United. So I went, yeah, definitely, I really want to sign for you, I'll definitely sign. He said, well, I'm going on holiday. When I get back, will you be at Old Trafford? I went, yeah, definitely. So, okay, I'll see you at Old Trafford. Cheers. So, like, for 2 days, I'm like, Dad, Man United, I'm going to Man United. He's like, good on you, son. And then the phone goes, it's Irvin Scholar. So I went, Dad, it's Irvin Scholar, Tottenham. He went, no, tell me you're going to Man United. I went, my dad said I'm going to Man United. He went, well, tell your dad, if you sign for Spurs, I'll give him 120 grand. So I went, Dad, if I sign for Spurs, I'm going to give you 120 grand. My dad went, what are you waiting for then, son? Get it signed.
Oh.
So then I get close to Tottenham, and about 100 yards away, I passed Old Trafford and I'm shaking. And I get 100 yards from the ground and the phone goes again. It's my sister. What do you want? Well, if Mum's getting a house and my dad's getting a car, I want a sunbed. So I says, I'll definitely say that we buy my sister a sunbed. So he bought my sister a sunbed. It blew the house up. The bulbs were more powerful in the sunbed than it was in the house.
Do you look at that time, Paul? Do you think, we all have sliding doors moments, do you look at your career and think the direction of travel that you'd have gone on? You went to play for Venables at Spurs, who you had a great relationship with, right? When you look at Ferguson, you look at the Man United side, and you look at the build that was coming, do you look at it and go, my career, my culture around me, you might have avoided the London set, because I don't think that the Danny Bakers, and with all due respect to Chris, helped you in your career. Do you think that going to United might have been a different direction for you?
Finished higher than Man United, not realising like the Becks and the Scholes were coming through the next season, because the next season they won the league after that. You know, they were flying and buzzing, And, you know, I'm thinking, you know, I look back and think, if it wasn't Terry Venables, because I remember when I played against Spurs, I scored a couple. The first 3 games were Liverpool man of match, Man United man of match, and 2 against Spurs and that. And I'm walking off, and I was sponsored by Hummel. Remember, my contract was $3 grand a year for wearing the boots. But Tottenham had Hummel as well. Terry Venables passed it, well, at least you've got the right boots on. And I looked and didn't realise what he meant. But he just said, if you sign for me, I'll have you playing for England within 10 games. And I really want to play for England. But at that time, they had Brian Robson and Neil Webb playing for
United.
Yeah. And God bless Neil Webb. He doesn't know this, but like two of them always play together with England. And I'm like, I'm never going to get a game yet. And like, I'm probably the only happiest man in the country at the time when Neil Webb got injured against Sweden, did his Achilles. I was like, oh, never mind. But inside, I was like, yes, my chance now, you know.
You too. But here's the thing, Gaza, if you'd played for Ferguson, you wouldn't have messed about with Sir Alex,
definitely
would you?
Not. No.
You would have listened to him.
I went to Man United.
He might even have put you from there to there as a player.
I mean, look, 4 years ago, I went to watch Man United play with Katie, my manager at the time. Mm-hmm. And I went to the Man United game, and I'm sitting in the lounge bed, and a fella comes up and says, Fergie wants to see you now in his office. I went, oh, God. I still start shaking then. When his office, he went, you come here, you little bee. You went, that should have signed for me. And I went, I know, and I was still shaking then, you know.
So do you imagine what he could have done in a United shirt?
Yeah, I mean, I think, Paul, you know, you're a guy that acts in the moment, aren't you? I mean, when you hear the stories, what you say, what you do, you expressed yourself so well. You know, maybe not in the right way sometimes. You said what you were thinking.
Yeah.
You know, some outrageous things you said. You know, the Norwegian TV
No
asked
filter.
to speak to you.
No filter.
Yeah.
You gave them a little personal message and you told them where to go. Do you know?
Yeah,
that was
the
always
Rodgers for that.
You had
was
this
weird,
sort of
that.
thing in your head, but on a football pitch, I mean, as a player, I mean, where did you get that arrogance and confidence to be playing? You're playing against Paul McGrath, you know, top players at the time, bro. Brian Robson. So he sees that in that first game. Where's that giving you? Where's that confidence coming from such a young man?
I never really watch. I used to watch the old match of the day when I was younger, like, you know, and I used to watch. I learned that I watched Cruyff do that turn. And I went, I'm going to try that. So I got the ball straight outside and practiced it straight away. And I don't know. Sometimes, like some of the stuff I did on the pitch, I not know how I did it, and I'll go back home and I'll watch it on TV, like the old match of the day, and think, God, how did I do that?
Was it to be the centre of attention, to be the top man? What was driving you on the football pitch?
I don't know. I used to, like, Tottenham was funny. I used to say to the guys, lads, before the game, do us a favour, lads, I'm really tired of getting man of the match after games. Can someone do well today so I don't have to go upstairs and get pestered? So, I'd say, like, the England players, do us a favour, guys, just, if you're tired, give us a ball. I'll keep a hold of it for 5 minutes and then you can have it back. And I'll just... Some of the things I used to say to them.
Do you know what? We're going to talk England the other side of 11 o'clock. Who's your all-time favourite player?
Brian Robson is unbelievable. I mean, he come back from 3 broken legs and his collarbone. But when I made my debut for him, I always remember when he played for us, West Bromwich Albion, that header he scored. And I just thought, what a player he was. And it was just when I played for England and we're walking onto the pitch for my first debut game. And he went, Gazza, look at... Leave any of the challenges, leave them for me. I'll take the knocks because I'm coming to the end of my career and that, and you're just starting yours. Or any of the headers, I'll take the stitches and that. I mean, I wish I'd have took notice of him. Like,
there was a
36 operations.
Great aura around Brian, wasn't it?
Yeah, unbelievable. The respect other players had for him, like, you know what I mean?
Gazza, you know, in Italia 90, the booking, the infamous moment, the tears on the pitch.
Yeah, I mean...
You got booked and you knew that would put you at a final if England had got there. I mean, how do you reflect on that?
I was actually thinking I was having I honestly thought, you know, at the end of that game, I thought my career, that was me and my career, not knowing I was only 22 and a half. But people didn't realise as well, before going out that, I remember getting stopped, walking out the tunnel, I got stopped by the owner of Juventus. And he went, I own Juventus, I own Fiat. He went, after this tournament, will you sign for Juventus? I'm like, wow, I'm just about to play against Germany. They had in 5 minutes, he wants to sign for Juventus. So I had that in my mind. But
Mr. Agnelli.
Yeah, that's it, Mr. Agnelli. But I think, you know, I had the best time of my life. You know, training every day with the guys, playing in the World Cup. And our fans were fantastic, you know. And I had such a laugh there. You know, I was playing table tennis every day, playing tennis every day. I was on even on I remember taking... These players spent half an hour with us, right? Half an hour. And I remember one time I was bored and Brian Robson got injured. He did his Achilles or whatever. So I remember going into the toilet and coming out near the swimming pool with a toilet roll around my head, around my arm, and walked in front of Bobby Robson. He went off it. He went, I can't believe it. I've lost me captain. And look, what's happened to you now? I went, I slipped in the swimming pool. And he's absolutely hated us. And all the lads were laughing. And I just took the bands off. I went, I'm only joking, Gaffer. I'm just like, come back, yeah, no, you. But he was after us. But, you know, the night before the semi-final, I was rooming with Chris Waddle. And it was 11 o'clock at night. And I went, Chris, I've got to go for a walk. And he went, you can't go for a walk. I said, you've got a big game tomorrow. Probably biggest game in your life, semi-final of the World Cup. Well, no, I'll be back. I won't be long. So as I left the room, I heard 2 guys playing tennis, and I went, I like tennis. I'm going to play this. So I'm playing tennis for like till 10 to 1 in the morning.
With total stranger?
Yeah, 2 strangers. I've played them on my own, and I was sweating my nuts off.
The night before the semi-final,
yeah, and I
just like mad in a tennis court.
Once again, I just heard, Gaza, it was Bobby Robson again. He must be watching every move I made. So I've turned around and I've looked at him. He's walked past me. I've dropped the racket. I can hear him shouting at these 2 Americans. Do you not realise who he is? He's got the biggest game in his life. And you're playing. They must have looked at him. So I ran to the room and I went to Chris Waddle. I says, Chris, if anyone knocks on the door, he's not knowing. Bobby Robson just tell him I'm sleeping. He went, yeah, okay. So I've got to bed and the door, honestly, it was like nearly getting smashed in. And Chris went, "Who's that?" He went, "The gaffer." "Where is he?" "Oh, he's sleeping." "Sleeping? He's just been playing tennis for 45 years. You're telling me he's sleeping?" As Chris looked at me, he went, "Have you?" And I just went, and then I just heard a bit of a piece of paper come through the door, and "I'll see you tomorrow morning." And then he went, he says, "I can't believe it." He said, "I've already called you daft as a brush. Last night, what you did was not normal, but you're not normal, are you?" I went, "No." And he says, "But today you're playing against Luther Matthias, the best midfield player in the world." And I looked at Sir Bobby Robson and I went, "No, I am." And I walked off. I always remember looking around after about 20 yards and he's still going, "Come here."
Shaking his head.
Yeah, going off it.
Guys, what can we say? Thank you so much for being with us.
Pleasure.
On the show this
Good
week.
to see Martin and Simon
Wish you well,
himself, to be fair.
It's good to see you.
Cheers.
Gascoigne again, lovely move and terrific goal. Is Gascoigne going to have a crack? He is, you know. Oh, I say! Brilliant! That is schoolboy's own stuff.
It's the buzz going around the ground as he picks up the ball. It's Gascoigne.